Guys, that Everton defeat, it was not about that red card. It was not about tactics. It's about Ruben's failure to manage his squad over this period of 5 months.
सर ये तो टट्टी है.
And yeah, welcome back to Football Banter X. And before I get into a rant, let me clear a few things. I don't hate Ruben Amorim. I have been backing him. No one can truly defend him.
बात तो सही है.
उसने इतना कुछ किया नहीं है ये लास्ट 12 महीनों में. He just had his first anniversary अभी. He hasn't done much at the club, so उसको defend करना थोड़ा difficult है, but you can definitely back him, and I am one of those folks. However, उसने थोड़ी चीज़ें जो की है ये पूरा साल और थोड़ी चीज़ें जो उसने कही है is what I am more upset about, which I don't think any other creator has spoken about. I mean, other creators have spoken about, he keeps giving these interviews, he digs his own grave by doing so many interviews. However, I did not have a problem with that. However, जो उसने ये लास्ट वीक में एक इंटरव्यू में बोला है, ऑलराइट, एंड देन in the pre-match build-up video to Everton, all right, जो वो इंटरव्यू में उसने बोला है, that is something that worried. I thought that it was important for me to make this video because मैंने किसी और को ये highlight करते नहीं देखा. By the way, before I get into that, Everton यार क्या, what did we do in that match? 10 men down Everton. ऐसे रेड कार्ड्स हमने शायद प्रीमियर लीग में तीसरी या चौथी बार देखे हैं. एक तो मैंने भी देखा है, न्यूकासल वाला. आई डिड नॉट नो अबाउट द अदर वन. However, मैंने न्यूकासल वाला रेड कार्ड देखा है, तो टू बी ऑनेस्ट आई थॉट इट वाज सॉफ्ट, बट वी हैव सीन worse cards given. But to be honest, to Everton's credit, it did not hamper them. They just kicked on and that's it. हम लोग को लग रहा था कि भाई it's gonna be another Chelsea, we are just gonna kill them. एटलीस्ट 2 गोल मार देंगे, उसके बाद अगर रेड कार्ड हमको भी मिल जाए, बिकॉज कभी कभी रेफरीज करते हैं कि अगर सामने वाले को दिया है तो यहाँ पर भी देना पड़ेगा टू बैलेंस थिंग्स ऑफ. But it never came. Everton just sat back. They defended well, and credit to David Moyes, who, to be honest, I've been vocal about that he's not a very great manager. But to be honest, he's been proving me wrong and a lot of folks wrong. I still feel David Moyes is not a top manager. I mean, when I say top manager, maybe not a top manager to manage a top 6 club. But he's done a decent job at Everton and no one can deny. But Everton played well. But to be honest, that defeat was on Ruben Amorim. And I don't understand this hate that Xerxes is getting, from the fans. Guys, he's gotten 90 minutes all this season. All right, 90 minutes. आप खुद बताओ आपने उसको कब खेलते हुए देखा है. Last year, when he started, he did looked sloppy. Passing में ये वो, but he was improving in the end and everyone was raving about him. A player does not get shit overnight. A player gets shit when he is not used to the intensity of the Premier League, and you have to call out Ruben Amorim. बिल्कुल टाइम नहीं दिया है over these 12-13 games. The only game that I remember was Burnley. Otherwise, I don't even remember Xerxes. Last time chunk on भी कब किया था, just to see what happens, how Ruben Amorim did, like with Kobe Menu, for example. Coming back to Kobe Menu came in, again looked rusty. It's not his fault because he's not gotten that many minutes. And to be honest, I kind of understand where Ruben Amorim is coming from. हम लोग जब नहीं जीत रहे थे, all right, and it was still early in the season and we were already calling for his head. So he has a set of players that he wants to trust and he does not want to take a chance. However, what he said in these interviews totally contradict each other. So let me get to to those interviews, and I will put the links to these interviews that you can go and watch for yourself. The first interview is one of those weekly podcast / interviews that he does with random folks. So I don't know how was this prompted, but he clearly said that there are two ways to look at an academy. Obviously, United Academy has a history of, being one of the best in the world and has contributed to United's history and achievements. However, United की academy को you can also use it to sell players and generate money to buy players that you really need for the squad. And to be honest, I don't totally disagree with this statement. uh, we don't sell well. We have seen that we have held on to players, let them run out of contracts, and then buy them again. Pogba comes to mind. Lingard, we did not sell him to West Ham when it was the right chance. West Ham were ready to pay up 35 million for Lingard, all right, which we still do. So we don't sell well. However, saying that up front, and I am only saying some things in brief, and I thought if you just look at that snippet as to how the British media do pick up a snippet, this is what the manager said, और उससे पूरा एक बड़ा expansion होता है. Okay, क्या बोला होगा Ruben Amorim ने, then you see 100 articles or whatnot. The entire interview was him harping about how it is very difficult to get in the first league. I totally agree with that. However, saying that you can sell your academy players, all right, and that too being okay with saying that, how do you think that what will that do to a moral of a player? I mean, अगर कोई अकेडमी में खेल रहा है, मेरे हिसाब से अगर कोई प्लेयर 16, 17, 18 साल का है जो अकेडमी में खेल रहा है 5, 6 साल, 10 साल, स्कॉट मैकटोमिने कम्स टू माइंड, ही प्लेड हिज एंटायर लाइफ एट यूनाइटेड. जब वो पिच पे खेलता तो दिखता था कि भाई उसको खेलना है यूनाइटेड के लिए, ऑलराइट. तो when you say this to players who have been at this club for such a long time, how do you think it will affect the players? Alright, why will they then prepare themselves to get into the first team? And this was the first interview that I'm referencing. The second interview is not even the post-match Everton match. To be honest, I haven't seen that interview at all, because after the Everton match, I was just done. Like, इतनी मेरी बेइज्जती हो गई थी, watch along कर रहा था. I was joined by a Spurs and an Arsenal fan who were just bantering me. Obviously, 10 men Everton से तुम हार रहे हो, वो भी घर पे. All right, they deserve to banter me, and we deserve that banter. क्योंकि मैंने बहुत banter किया था Liverpool को before that match. But yeah, I mean, what he said in that pre-match interview, he said he was asked about the upcoming AFCON Nations Cup, and how our entire right side, which is Mazraoui, Mbeumo and Ahmad, will be going there, and our entire right side is going to be empty. And he then goes ahead and said, after that interview that he did in the weekday, that this is what the academies are for. They have to be ready. We have to be ready for such periods of time. Bro, why are you contradicting yourself? Why? एक जगह आप ये बोल रहे हो that we can pick up and sell our academy players, and I don't want to take it out of context, but he's doing it for you. He's doing it for you. All right. And in the second interview, he says that the academy players have to be ready to step up. भाई आप कब टाइम देते हो किसी और प्लेयर को? आप कब टाइम देते हो? To be honest, जब भी हम लोग यूनाइटेड टॉक के एपिसोड्स करते हैं, I don't know if you have seen those episodes, I have always defended that Ruben Amorim has his core players और वो उनको स्टार्ट करना चाहिए. However, with this attitude of not changing players, having his core players like Bruno in the middle, how many times has Bruno screwed up? This is the 4th or the 5th time I've seen him losing his marker, not defending him, because he's not a fucking DM. But no, we keep insisting that Bruno can play there. He can play in the centre mid. He lost his marker, Dewsbury Hall, and what a beauty by him. I can't take anything away from that goal. However, this loss and the state that we are in is on Amorim. And I'm not like those Liverpool fans right now. I mean, not right now anyway, that we should call for Ruben Amorim's head. I'm not that fan. All I'm saying is he needs to, look at himself. Stop doing these midweek, interviews. Okay, you know what? Maybe maybe these are part of United making money. Okay, then you have to do it. Like, he doesn't have a choice. However, be careful of what you're saying. I understand that you harping on about physicality, and maybe our academy players are not that physical. However, other teams are making do. Look at Arteta, for instance. How many academy players has he integrated to the team? Last night, MLS was playing against freaking Bayern Munich. MLS is what, 18, 17 years old. We had Kobe Menu, one of the most sought after players that everyone was wanting, and look at what he have done to him. Maybe he does not fit into our team, but we're still wasting him away. How are we fitting in any players in our team? And I'm asking these questions to Ruben Amorim, and I think a lot more creators should pay attention to actually what he said in these last 2 interviews. I did not even look at the post-match interview, where I'm pretty sure he must have accepted. I mean, I give props to Ruben Amorim about this. He's pretty honest. But sometimes I don't think the players or the fans or even the management would want to hear that, what he said at Grimsby. It looks like he's already lost it. All right. So yeah, this was my emotional rant. I don't even know how to close this video out, but thanks for tuning in. If you like the video, do leave a comment or a like. Consider subscribing to us, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.